Hey everyone, this is Dr. Scott. This is Rhetoric 6800. This video is going to give you a short introduction to the course. We'll talk a little bit about what the class is about, and I'll show you where things are laid out in the Blackboard site. This class is a survey of research methods used in composition and rhetoric, and that the word survey is doing a lot of work here. It's a short introduction to the different methods that are used in the disciplines. This is not a deep dive into quantitative analysis or qualitative analysis. It is a general introduction to some of the methods that are used. The key takeaway for the class for me is that you have a appreciation for the different kinds of research methods, that you understand. You don't have to appreciate them. You have to understand that there are different methods that are used in the disciplines, and they are used for different purposes. And that purpose is dictated by the research question that you ask. So if you ask a question that's, what's the correlation between student success in a writing assignment and this kind of demographic background, that is a quantitative, that is probably a project that's geared more towards quantitative analysis. Might be a mixed methods analysis, but it's not a question that would be purely answered or wholly answered by qualitative research. So that the connection between the methods that you use and the research question that you have, that's something that I'm going to harp on quite a bit during the semester, but it's just because it's such an important concept to understand. You ask research questions in the discipline, questions that drive you, that that you're curious about, like it's something about a teaching practice that you'd like to improve, something that's always kind of bugged you. Why do my peer reviews, why are they kind of lame? Doing some research and doing some kind of empirical research about those kinds of things, that drives the research. But the question that you ask and the way that you ask the question, that helps you determine what kind of method that you use. Some folks start with the method. I think you need to start with the research question. So we're going to talk a lot about that this term. The textbook for the class is kind of perfect for what we're doing. It's written for master's degree students, and it is kind of a general introduction to the different methods in the discipline. I'm going to add some other publications and point you in the direction of other publications that might help you deepen your understanding of some of the methods that we'll talk about. I will also talk about my own research. This upcoming semester, spring 2024, I'll be working on a qualitative project, and I'll share some of that with you all as it progresses. One disclaimer that I want to make before I get too far in, and that's the relationship between this class and a thesis project, if you decide to pursue a thesis project. And I'll talk about the capstone requirement here in just a second. Because this class is a general introduction to research methods in the discipline, it would be very difficult for you to finish this class and then immediately start on a quantitative project or a qualitative project. You will probably need to do some additional reading and some additional learning about qualitative research, quantitative research, content analysis, textual analysis. You'll need to do a little bit more digging on those methods before you can implement those methods for a thesis project, if that's what you decide to do. So I just want to make that really clear from the get-go. You get to choose, or you get to suggest who you'd like to work with as a thesis advisor. If you take the thesis option, so you can say, I'd like to suggest that I work with Dr. Jen Scott because I think her research aligns with what I'm interested in, or one of the other faculty members in the program. You'll need to do a little bit more reading about the different methods in the discipline, and your advisor can help you point you in that direction, and I'll do a little bit of that here in this class. So a little bit about the capstone requirement. So our graduate program manual, which is, if you haven't downloaded it, I'd suggest you do that. It's kind of like your syllabus for being a student in the program. It has, it lays out on page 5 and 6 your options for completing the capstone requirement in our program. So you can do either a portfolio or you can do a master's thesis. Portfolio, you collect some works that you've done in the term. You enroll in the portfolio class. Dr. Jen Scott teaches that class. And she kind of takes you to task on your writing, and you work on revising your writing. And it's kind of like a workshop model. That's one option. The other option is the thesis. And the research proposal that you will put together at the end of this term, there will be a cover page that goes on top of that that research proposal, and you'll need to indicate whether or not you'd like to pursue the thesis option or you'd like to pursue the portfolio option. Take the thesis option, that document your research proposal, I'll grade it for the class, and then I'll forward it on to Dr. Jen Scott, and then we'll go to all the faculty in the program, and we'll approve it, and or we'll say think you need to revise and resubmit, or this is really out there, it's not really appropriate for our program, or appropriate for, it's not really within our discipline. So that's what would happen with the thesis option. You can suggest who your thesis advisor might be. We'll consider that and kind of give you a decision afterwards. If you take the portfolio requirement, that is you'll still complete a research proposal, but you'll say, you know what, I did the research proposal, I'll grade it for this class, and the grade will be entered, and then Dr. Jen Scott will be notified, and then you'll enroll in the portfolio class. So that's kind of the relationship of this class to the capstone requirement. By the end of the term, you're going to complete a research proposal that you can use for a thesis project if you decide to do that. And if you don't, that's fine. The cover sheet, you'll say, I want to pursue the portfolio option, and then you'll enroll in the portfolio class. So that's what we're doing in this class, developing a research proposal that you could use if you wish to pursue that option for the thesis. So the class is really divided into two halves. The first half is going to be about, we're going to read a lot in Blakesley and Fleischer. We're going to learn about the different kinds of research questions that folks ask. We're going to learn about how folks kind of get a sense of what has been already said about a topic, how to do that kind of secondary research. So we don't actually get into research methods until the second half of the term. First half of the term is kind of you honing in on that research question. The research question is incredibly important for the rest of a research project. Once you kind of figure out, and you can tweak a research question here and there, but once you have a research question, you've kind of settled on it, that helps you make a whole host of other decisions when it comes to the research that you're going to do. What kind of method am I going to use? Who are going to be my research participants? What site will I conduct this research at? That research question really drives a lot of what happens in a research project. So we're going to spend the first half of the semester thinking about research questions and talking about ethics of research questions, and you'll complete your IRB training in the first half of the semester, so it's setting a lot of the groundwork for you to be successful in the second half. Second half of the term, we get into methods quite a bit. We'll talk about qualitative inquiry, quantitative inquiry. I'll introduce you to content analysis, and you might have to break out Microsoft Excel if you haven't used that in a while, but we'll get into that in the second half of the term. It's kind of like a week per method for about 4 or 5 weeks. And then you're working on your research proposal, and then we'll workshop a draft of a research proposal towards the end of the semester. So that's really kind of how the class is set up. First half, kind of refining that research question, doing a lot of reading about a topic that you're interested in to help you refine that research question. Second half of the semester, learning about methods and thinking about how those methods might apply to that research question that you're asking. Okay, so talked a fair bit about the overview of the class, kind of the goals of the class, and how it's structured a little bit. I do want to talk about the logistics of the course, so a little bit of nuts and bolts. Tuesdays, you're going to get every Tuesday during the semester, you're going to get an email from me saying the folder for next week is available. So it'll be released. And then you'll get an email from me saying, hey, week 2 of Rhetoric 6800 is available. Here's what we're doing. Here's why we're doing it. And then you're off to the races and doing that work. Tuesdays are also the due date. So when I release the folder for week 2, week 1 stuff will be due. So everything is kind of built around Tuesdays. Tuesday, the following week's folder is available, and Tuesday is the current week's due date. There'll be some assignments due on Friday, but those are the big assignments. So like the midterm project and the research proposal, those are due on Friday. So the Friday before we go to spring break, and then the Friday of finals week, that's when kind of the big stuff is due. There's also a Friday due date, but it's around a peer review, like getting a draft of something out for peer review, but that's way later in the semester. So that's kind of like the nuts and bolts of things. You know, you might get a little, if you need a little bit more time with things, I hope that you'll reach out. Tuesday is just kind of keeps it consistent. You know that things are going to be available on Tuesday, and you know that your due date is Tuesday. So this class kind of hinges around the Tuesday deadline and the Tuesday release date for subsequent weeks of the term. I want to go into Blackboard really quickly and show you a few things and where things are located and show you where to get started. So let me switch screens. Okay, let me give you a quick introduction to our Blackboard site, and I'll go into week one and kind of show you how things will work on in our week-to-week work. So this is our Blackboard site. It's going to change a little bit between now and when the course is released, but the basics are kind of the same. After week one, this will be the home page. So it'll be where all the weekly folders are kept, but I will also have current week, like it'll be up here. So you'll be able to access the weekly folders here on the left-hand side under current weeks, and then if you go to the home page, they'll be there underneath the banner photo. Okay, so course information page, picture of me when I actually get my hair cut, office hours, best way to reach me, probably by email, a little bit of information about the structure of the course. I've covered a fair bit of that already, but just reminders here that I think are important. The syllabus is here under course information, and then some other policies and stuff like that, some resources that I think are important for you to have access to. That's all under course information. Homepage, this will be the landing page after the first couple of weeks of after the first week of the course, and then you can access all the content that's available to you here. Some of the stuff, I mean, you're looking at it from my point of view, so like week 2 is not going to be available to you when the course was released. Our work, so your grades, you can click this to check your grades. The discussion board, here's a link, the library resources that are available to you. This link here will take you to resources that are specific to the Rhetoric and Composition program. Ways to stay in touch, the announcements, the weekly announcements, they will be kept here. You also get an email from Blackboard with that announcement, but you can go back here to take a look at previous announcements. The calendar, I try to keep that updated so you know what's due and when. And then office hours sign up. I use a app called Calendly, and it will take you to a page that looks like this. These are my available office hours. Choose one that works for you. You can tell me I want to chat over phone or in person if you live here in Portsmouth, or if you'd rather prefer a Teams call. You can go through this process to kind of get that set up. If these times don't work for you, I don't want you to fret. Like if you work in the evenings, if you're on the West Coast, email me, let me know. We will find a time to chat, either by phone, or if you prefer Zoom, you can send me a link. We'll figure it out. Make sure that don't make my office hours availability hold you back from reaching out, particularly at the beginning of the term as you're trying to revise and to tweak a research question. So those are my office hours. Let's see. Office hours sign up, and then the rest of the links that won't be available to you on your end. Let's get into week 1. Let's take a look at what that looks like. There'll be an introduction from me, information about what we're doing this week, and a brief, kind of an overview. Like here's the big picture about where we are, and then we can kind of get into like this is what I need you to read, this is what I need you to view. This video will be linked right here under the viewing. Some tips, some suggestions. I will point you in the direction of things that I think are really important. So if I tell you, I want you to read these 15, 16 pages, but there's this part that you really need to pay attention to, I'm not just saying that for my health. I think it's important stuff that you pay attention to. And you can see the advice here for week 1. Then we get into the lesson assignments. So these are links to the actual either discussion board post or this other thing that I want to tell you about called perusal. So you'll see this link, syllabus comments on perusal. So the syllabus, again, it's on the course information page on Blackboard, but I want us to practice using this application called perusal and comment on the syllabus. So when you click that link, it's going to take you to this page here, and you'll see things that are highlighted. And That means that somebody has commented on them. And so this first link right here, this first little bit of highlighting, you click on that, and this is the comment that I had to kind of get you started using Perusal. And the way that you make a comment is you just highlight text. And then you ask a question, or you respond, or you comment, or you note something that you think is important. Questions are really good if there's anything that's unclear to you. You can also respond to what other people have said. So you have this comment here. I don't know if y'all can see this. But there's another little box here where you can go in and like respond to the post that I had. So if I ask a question, there'll be times when I do that throughout the term. Hey, what do y'all think about this concept? I mean that question earnestly. Like, I want you to think about that question and respond to it. So I want us to take this approach. Like us to try it out. I've used it for a few years now, and it's students have preferred it. They found it interesting and learned from each other. It gives you an auto grade. It's got an algorithm attached to it, which sometimes isn't all that great, but I'll take a look and I'll try to be pretty specific about what it is I'm looking for. And for this first go around with Perusal, I want you to have 3 or 4 comments or questions on the syllabus. So that's Perusal. So that's my not so briefish video about the course, kind of getting you set up and introducing you to some of the main features of the Blackboard site and kind of giving you a sense of like what this class is really all about. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions about any of this content, do please reach out. I enjoy, in my professional life, there's 2 things that I really enjoy talking about. One is teaching. The other is research. And combining the 2, that's me. Like those are the kind of conversations I want to have. So especially those of you that are coming at this from a teaching perspective, you got questions about, gosh, I don't see how this research stuff is going to work. I teach 11th grade English. It can absolutely work. You can do amazing kick-ass research just in your own classroom. And I'm happy, thrilled to work with folks that are teaching to do that kind of work. Teaching is not your game. That's okay. We're going to find something that works for you, something that you're interested in, but something that that aligns with the kind of research that we do in our discipline. So you're going to learn a lot about what that kind of research is, the kind of research questions that we ask. This is something I get super psyched up for. And even if you want to do a portfolio, I'm still going to push you to do some really cool stuff and really kind of out there stuff that you might do at some point for a research project. So super excited to work with you all. This one of my favorite classes to teach, and I'm really excited to work with you all and to get to know you. So there will be at 5:30 on Tuesday, the first week of the semester, there'll be a get-together. It'll be optional, but I hope to see some of y'all there. And if not, I will see y'all on the discussion board, see you in Perusal, and we'll chat, and hope that y'all had a great break. That's it for now.